In July of 2024, OpenAI talked about a new product they were working on, which was SearchGPT. And when they made that announcement, the stock of Google actually, the price dropped several percentage points. And I did make a video about it at that time, indicating that it's going to be a game changer if they're actually able to pull it off. And they just released it into ChatGPT. And so this was released on October the 31st, 2024. And we are on the landing page right now. I'm just going to quickly go through the landing page and talk about some of the key things that it's actually supposed to allow us to do. And I'm going to put the links to all of these pages in the description. So the important unique selling proposition for ChatGPT Search, as they call it right now, is it allows you to get fast, timely answers with links to relevant web sources. So in that video, which I just mentioned, I talked about how the way we acquire information from the internet right now involves you going through a search engine like Google or Bing, and then you put in your search, and that pulls up the search engine results page, and then you have to actually go through each of those links. Now, one of the utilities about ChatGPT Search is you can just put in your prompt, and it's going to search the web, it's going to give you a very concise answer, and then it's going to give you the sources. So now you have sources that back the content that you get from the search. So here we see how it talks about ChatGPT can now search the web in much better ways than before. You get fast, timely answers with links to relevant web sources, which you would have previously needed to go to the search engine for. So that's going to really cut down the search time. The other thing that they talk about here is you can actually choose to search the web on what you ask, or you can manually choose to search by clicking on the web search icon itself. So I'm going to demonstrate what this looks like as soon as we go through these pages. So they talk about how it's designed to get you better answers, and we'll see how that works actually in real life. So the closest competitor to this product will be Perplexity, and at some point in the video I'm just going to compare what it looks like in ChatGPT Search and in Perplexity when you do ask the same question. So the other thing that they do have is an important article on their website, and I'm just going to put that in here. So in this article, and I'm going to link this article in the description as well, it talks about how the ChatGPT Search as of this time of recording is available to the ChatGPT Plus and team users, as well as those who are on the SearchGPT waitlist. And it's going to soon be available to the ChatGPT EDU and enterprise users, and eventually they are going to roll it out to all free users in the coming months. Now it does give you some deeper information about how they acquire the information, the privacy components, and all of those good stuff. So I'm going to leave that link in the description. Once again, you can go check it out for yourself. So now let's go to ChatGPT, and currently it's available in the 4.0 model. So we're going to click on the globe icon, and you'll notice that there are some options that are being suggested. These are the trending topics. So let's see how current this is. So we're going to say, what is the stock price of Nvidia? So now we have two options. Let's see. All right, so you do have the charts and everything, and for whatever reason it's asking us to give it some feedback. So let's see which one we prefer. So now you can see the sources in there. So these are inline sources. This is from Yahoo Finance, and they give you the chart and everything. So let's say we prefer this response, and of course we could go through by following up with an additional question. So now you don't just have the answer to the question, you can actually follow up with the answer that you got, and then you can have a thread of conversation that you're having with the AI. So it does tell you what happened on Thursday, declined by 4.7% because that was a question we asked, and then it gave some responses, and these responses have been provided based on these sources. So when you click on the sources, you will notice that it's all at the right hand side here, and you can quickly go through them and then double check them. So if you click on Market Watch, it's going to open it up, and we're going to see what that looks like. So clearly this is current and it works really nicely. Now the one thing that you'll notice that there are no ads here, so if you don't like ads on your search page, this would be actually good for you. And then this right here is almost similar to a search results page. It's just that the sources have been actually compiled for you, and you don't need to go check that on Google or Bing. So that's how it works for the stock price, and that was a more current event. Now let's see what that looks like if you want to do some research. So I'm going to just open a new page, and then we click on this search the web. And now let's say I want you to give me a list of sources about my seller delivery of embedding. Yeah, so we put in the prompt. I want you to give me a list of sources about my seller delivery of embedding, and here it's compiled it really nicely. Now let's look at the sources. Now this is work I've done, so I'm actually familiar with who the authors are, and actually most of them should be the work that I have produced. But let's see what it found. So here it's citing Sigma Aldrich, and clearly it says asset denied. So I'm not sure how they're using that source. But then let's see here. This is Millie Paul, also access denied, and then this is from MDPI. Yeah, and that's my paper for sure, but it's clearly citing the journal itself. So you seem to do a pretty good job. Now there are more articles, so let's find out whether you can find that. So you found 2 more, or maybe 3 more. So now let's see which ones you found. Okay, so it seems to be getting the sources from either the journal or some books or company. Let's see what this is. Yeah, so this is one of my papers from a long time ago, and it's finding that from Springer Nature Link. All right, so in terms of sources, at least for the quick one that we just looked at, is either getting the articles from the journal itself or from some companies, and I'm not sure why that one is not showing. I am in incognito mode right now, so maybe that could be the reason, but nonetheless, the sources have been cited. Now I'm just going to copy this prompt, and we want to see what that looks like when you use Perplexity. So I'm just going to put the same prompt here, and Perplexity actually works in a very similar fashion, so it will be a good comparison. So here you also gave about 4. Let's see whether they are similar. Actually, this is different. So this was not in the ChatGPT version. And let's see the source. So this source is actually from PubMed. So that's definitely a good source. And then there are some similarities. So this one is the same article that was on the MDPI, but they have it sourced from PubMed. So what we're noticing is for the research articles, the Perplexity is mostly getting its sources from PubMed, while for the search on ChatGPT, the sources are mostly directly from the journal itself. So same paper, for example, this paper, it's sourced from PubMed, but here it is actually coming from the journal's page directly. So that's interesting. Now, what are my general impressions? I think this feature is really going to be powerful in terms of how you can use it to do search on the internet or acquire information from the internet. If you're doing this for academic purposes, you always want to validate and verify that the sources are authentic and actually things that you could use for your work. Other than that, I think it's really going to be a beneficial tool for us. So let's do one more thing. Let's quickly see what that looks like if you want to actually use this to maybe find a location. So I'm going to open a new chat session, and let's say find me the best restaurants in Miami. Okay, so nice. It actually gives a map as well, so that's pretty impressive. And then you have a carousel that you can actually just go through, give you directions, website, or call. So this is actually a nice layout, and you could also check it in a list form, I believe. Okay, so that's even much more nicely curated. So let's see what that looks like if we click on this one. And the source is from Wikipedia. That's quite interesting. So we have a source on Wikipedia. So it looks like most of the sources on OpenAI tend to be mostly the bigger publishers or the well-known publishers. So let's see what this is. All right, this is from actually a blog. So I don't know much about this blog, but it might be an authority in the food space. So that's nice. Actually, you could have 2 options, right? So the map and the list form, so all of them work nicely. And then the sources are on the right side. And of course, you can close this at any point in time. Now, let's wrap this session up with just a general search or maybe about the topic that you're interested in and see what that looks like. So I started a new session. So let's try just a general question. What is photosynthesis? So it's pretty fast. And it gives us this whole narrative, and then it gives a source. So it's interesting, just gave only one source. And what's this source? Actually, there are more sources, but the primary source is from Encyclopedia Britannica, and it gives a search results. So you do have search results. Now, I'm not sure where they're pulling this from, whether Bing or Google. And actually, we can quickly check that. So I'm going to copy the question, and let's go to Google. So this is the search engine results page for the question. Of course, they have the AI overview. So that's actually similar to what ChatGPT Search and Perplexity are doing. But clearly, they have a lot of results on the search engine page. So we see Arizona State University, Smithsonian, and Life Sciences. Let's see what the sources are here. So it's pretty similar. I'm not quite sure where they're getting their sources from or how they are ending up with these results page, but that'll be interesting to know. But nonetheless, they are authoritative sources, and clearly you can go there to actually check to make sure that the information is correct. So my initial thoughts are, once again, the ChatGPT Search is an excellent tool. It's actually searching real time to get you current information and also citing sources for everything that it provides. But once again, if you're going to use this, you always want to double check and validate and ensure that the content that is provided in ChatGPT actually is backed up by authentic sources and that the content in the sources itself is true. So there are some similarities between how ChatGPT Search works and how Perplexity also works. What we did notice is that the sources are different, so that may be important depending on the work that you're doing, but nonetheless it's a great way to go, and I'm sure the way we acquire information from the internet is going to move in this direction moving forward. So I hope you found this video tutorial useful. If you did, be sure to like it and share it, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. If you'd like to learn more about how you can use artificial intelligence and technology to enhance your productivity in academia and in your life in general, then be sure to check out the details on our website, and I'm going to put a link to the website in the description. So stay productive and be empowered, and I'll see you in the next video.